Okay.
Hey everyone, just a quick housekeeping note for members of public. If you could just stay muted until you're ready to speak. This just reduces some of the background noise when other people are speaking. Thank you.
All right, it's 4 o'clock. Are we expecting anyone else? Probably not. Okay. All right, I will call the meeting to order. Could I have a mover and seconder for a resolution to convene the Committee of Adjustment? Stuart and Karen, thank you. Moved by Stuart, seconded by Karen, that the Committee of Adjustment for the Corporation of Township of Seguin hereby convenes at 4 p.m. Wednesday, August 11th. All in favor? And that is carried. Okay. Committee of Adjustment hereby convenes a public meeting as per the Planning Act. Applicants and the public can speak at the public meeting. Notice of the decisions will be sent to applicants and to the public if requested. Any person may appeal a decision or condition of approval within 20 days of the notice of decision. Okay, could I have a mover and seconder for the agenda as circulated? Terry and Stuart, thank you. Moved by Terry, seconded by Stuart, that the Committee of Adjustment of the Corporation of Township of Seguin hereby approves the agenda for August 11th, 2021 hearing. Any comments or additions to the agenda? All in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. Okay, could I have a mover and seconder to adopt the minutes of the previous meeting? Greg and Terry, thank you. Moved by Greg, seconded by Terry, that the Committee of Adjustment to the Township of the Corporation of Seguin hereby accepts as read and circulated the minutes of its last hearing that took place on Wednesday, July 14th, 2021. Any corrections, comments on those minutes? All in favor? Thank you. Okay. All right, so we are going to need a motion to appoint Lauren as the Secretary Treasurer. Could I have a move and seconder for that? Stuart and Greg. Moved by Stuart, second by Greg, that the Committee of Adjustment for the Corporation of the Township of Seguin hereby appoints Lauren Irvine, planner for the Township of Seguin, as the committee secretary treasurer. Any comments, questions? All in favor? And that is carried. It's also suggested we appointed a deputy secretary treasurer. I'm not sure we need to do that today till we see how things sort out with the planning department. Does anyone feel strongly one way or another? I'm going to pass on that one then. Okay, can I ask if anyone has any pecuniary interests they need to disclose for any of the applications? None declared? Okay, thank you. And now I'll ask the Secretary Treasurer to introduce the first application.
Thank you, Chair. The purpose of minor variance application number A 2021-0026-H Churchman is to remove a portion of the existing dock and construct a new dock and boathouse, requesting a reduction of setback from the side lot line while recognizing the amount of in-water and shoreline structures, which will slightly decrease from the amount currently existing. Correspondence in support of the application was received from Tom and Karen McCullough, and they are the neighbors to the east of the property.
Okay. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak to this application? Terry?
There, if I learn how to unmute myself. Thank you. Terry Ledger, agent for the Churchmans, 167 Medora Street, Port Carling, Ontario, P0B1J0. I see Mr. Churchman is also here, and we're mostly here just to answer any questions you might have. It's really just a reconfiguration of the to allow for a boathouse. It is a slight improvement. It's a good improvement on the side yard line, slight improvement on the width. So I'll leave the rest to you.
Okay, are there any committee members that have any questions? I just have one. You're removing the piece of the dock that sticks towards the north and
Yes.
leaving the part that's closest to shore,
Correct.
and then building the boathouse at the south end of the lot.
Right. So the water depth is an issue there. So moving it over to that end, it makes it so you can put a boat in front ways. Right now, it's at the very end of that sort of angled piece that's towards the neighbors.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions? Okay, could I have a mover and seconder for that application, please? Terry and Karen. Okay, moved by Terry, seconded by Karen. That the Committee of Adjustment hereby approves variance application A 2021-0026-H Churchman to remove a portion of the existing dock and construct a new dock for a proposed boathouse with the following variances to zoning bylaw 2006-125. 1, section 4.28B, maximum in-water shoreline structures 15.84 meters. Existing is 24.53 meters. The proposal results in width of 24.15 meters, requiring a variance of 8.31 meters, being a decrease of 0.7% from what currently exists. 2, section 6.3, table 6.2, minimum front yard, side yard setback. Required is 12.5 meters. A proposed is 11 meters. Sorry. Requiring variance of 1.5 meters. Subject to the following conditions: that the owner applies for and obtains a building permit within 2 years of the date of decision of Committee of Adjustment. And 2, that the extent of the variances will be limited to that shown on the sketch plan attached to the notice of public meeting. Is there any further comments, questions? All in favor? And that is carried.
Thank you.
Thanks, Terry. So the application has been approved. You will get a letter in the next few days and the 20-day appeal period starts.
Great. Thanks, Dawn.
Okay. Work from home isn't all it's cracked up to be. All right, could I ask the Secretary Treasurer to introduce the next application?
Thanks, Chair. The purpose of minor variance application A 2021-0027-H Coney is to construct a new cottage, requesting an increase in maximum lot coverage and maximum gross floor area. Correspondence in support of the application was received from John C. Correspondence stating concerns was received from Ron Collins and Deanna Piquette. And a letter of objection was received from Nancy Cohen on behalf of the Lake Joseph North Association.
Okay. And is there someone here who wishes to speak to this application? Bill, you're on mute. Mr. Hicks, you're on mute.
It should be fine now. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Yes, I'm here on behalf of the Chanconis to seek permission for two variances for this property. One is for coverage, one is for gross floor area. It's a very large site, as you can see. Can you see my screen? I'm sharing my screen. Hopefully you can see that. So,
yes.
Perfect. So it's a very large site. And actually, in fact, there was a previous cottage approved on this site for a previous owner of about 12,000 square feet. There was some clearing done. If you've seen the site, there was some large amount of clearing done for rock in this area through here. That cottage was never built, and Mr. Chanconi is now looking to build this cottage. We've purposely sited it behind the existing boathouse, which sits through here. And I know there's a condition for the removal of a small area that's attached to that boathouse that was built by the previous owner. But we purposely sited it behind there to try and limit any impact. The reasons for the variances are the coverage is simply because we have, and I'll show you the renderings here. Somewhere in here. We have some very large overhangs on the cottage. And actually, because they're over 1 meter in size, we have to count them in our coverage calculation. And in fact, they are the only reason that we're over our allowable coverage. We're actually under the allowable coverage if we don't count the overhangs. So that was the one reason for that. And again, it's when he's built this cottage, there's really one section of it that's 2 stories, and I'll speak to the allowable gross floor area. He's got one section. It's a sloping site. It's a very big site. It's about 12 acres. It has frontage that's probably double what most of the other cottages are in the area. I haven't done an exact calculation of all those lot frontages, but I've done other sites on Sealy Bay. So we have a 2-story section through here, which is his primary bedroom space, main living space, and some bedrooms are on the main floor. But the entire site slopes towards the lake where the rock was blasted. And thus we have exposed basement. If we didn't build up some landscaping in front, we would have exposed basement across the entire face of the cottage. He doesn't want to use that space. He really wants main floor living space. But there is an area here that if we do not keep that exposed, that we're going to have to take down some trees, which when you look at the site plan, hopefully these are reacting quickly to you. We don't want to take down any trees in here. And in fact, that's the only place. This is all existing tree line through here. But if we have to fill this area, we're going to have to take down some trees that are in here, and we'd rather keep them all in position. So that in fact means that we've got about 2,300 square feet in the basement on this cottage. That is what's taking us over our maximum allowable gross floor area. So I think some of the unique things about the lot is that we're not going to touch any of the trees along the waterfront. It was blasted quite a long time ago, so we're not taking down any trees for the construction of this cottage through that segment through there. Planning department supports the application. We have talked to the neighbors on both sides. I know there's a letter of support from this neighbor. If you can see my cursor, this neighbor has no objections to it, but I know the neighbor, which was from somewhere to the west of it, they said a few lots away. I wasn't quite sure where that was, but I know they had some general concerns just with respect to asking for variances to the bylaw, but in this case, we felt that because the coverage is simply restricted to the overhangs themselves, I could simply remove the overhangs or reduce them to 1 meter or less, and I wouldn't be asking for a coverage amendment. But the architecture demands or would like to retain those overhangs. And the basement, I can get rid of that basement space, but I'm gonna have to take down trees to do it because I'd have to fill in that basement space. But unfortunately, that's the way the lot slopes. But he doesn't really want to live in that basement space other than a garage he has at one end and some mechanical space. So that's in general why we do exceed those two things. But again, it's a very large lot. It's some 12 acres, I think. It's got close to 800 feet of frontage on the site. And as I say, in a normal situation, with some of the other zonings, you could probably build 2 cottages on here of that size. But at any rate, I'd like to open it to certainly questions from the members. As I say, planning seems to support it. We've worked with them. They've waived any need for site plan approval because I think they're satisfied with the application. And we're hoping that the committee sees it with the same intent. So.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions
you.
from the committee? Stuart?
Yes, I'd just like to know how many people are represented by the Lake Joseph North Association.
I can't answer that, but
Probably represents 150 members. Going from over by the Camp for the Blind through Gordon Bay, Hamer Bay, North Lake Joe, and up the side to Sealy Bay.
Mr. Chair, it's Jamie here. If I may just jump in for 1 second. I didn't get a chance at the start. If that's
Yeah.
okay.
Please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We had a discussion at the staff level about this application yesterday. The municipality has received a complaint related to some vegetation removal and site alteration in the front yard of the property that's occurred since the staff site visit occurred. And it was that staff visit upon which the recommendation of approval was based. Given the photographs that Bylaw has taken and what's been provided, staff is recommending deferral of the application so that we can investigate whether or not any bylaw infractions, be it site alteration or zoning bylaw infractions, have occurred on the property as a result of the recent works. And if necessary, whether any of those, if in fact there have been any infractions, whether they need to also be incorporated into the variance applications that are being requested of the committee. So it's on that basis that staff believe it would be premature for the committee to consider these variance applications at this time, in light that there may possibly be other infractions on the property as a result of that recent site alteration that's been completed and works that have been completed on the property. So I just wanted to make that clear for the committee as well, that the staff report was supportive of the variances based on the sets of circumstances at the time the staff report was prepared in the site visit. There has been some changes based on the information in the site visit by Bylaw on Monday, resulting from some landowner complaints. And that's the reason we're asking for the committee to press the pause button, defer the application, so that comprehensive review of what's been undertaken on the site can be completed by staff. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any committee members that want to talk to that? Terry?
Mr. Chairman. Oh,
Okay, Terry first and then Greg.
okay. If I got my mute off, I can't.
You do.
I do. I have a question for Jamie. Jamie, why? I mean, I'm looking at this application, and even before the new information that was given today, I'm really betwixt and between on how this is a minor. It can be construed as a minor application. I mean, we're sitting at the max allowable, and you know, the ask is far more than 10%. So why would this not have gone in for a rezone, site-specific rezone.
Through Mr. Chair to the member, in terms of applications, under the Planning Act, an applicant is permitted to submit an application for anything that they choose. In terms of the evaluation criteria under the Planning Act and specifically the 4 tests under Section 45, the 4 tests are intent to the official plan, is the intent of the bylaw met, is the proposal desirable, and the desirable test is really the public interest test, and the final one's is it minor. That minor test is a fairly subjective test, and there is no prescribed formula for percentage increase. The case law on this is that you can entirely remove a provision of the bylaw, like entirely reduce a side yard setback, for example, go for 100% reduction, and it still could meet being the test of minor. So we don't really look at the numbers specifically in evaluating that test of minor. It's somewhat of an impact test and somewhat of what's the overall variance result in comparison. How does it consider the uniqueness of the lot? How does it consider the vegetation of the lot? And a number of compounding planning factors. So we don't specifically look at the number aspect of it and the percentage change, although it can be a consideration. It's not the only consideration. And in this case, it was staff's position that based on the information at the time that it did meet that test of minor.
Thank you.
Greg, you want to speak to the deferral or the application?
The application, just actually Terry's question was one of my concerns. The other one of my concerns was from the Lake Joseph North Association. They indicate that they received an email the same date that the notice was posted on the Friday. Were they notified when the application first came forward a month ago as well? Because there was no correspondence from them.
That's right.
When we had the meeting in July. So I'm just wondering, I completely agree with Terry. Like I have the same concern as Terry, but I also wonder why, if there's an explanation why, if they were notified for the July hearing and there was no response from, what has changed with the Lake Joseph North Association between then and now that they have a concern.
I can jump in there, Mr. Chair. So I believe the Lake Association is signed up for automatic emails when a notice gets posted on the website. As far as why they didn't respond back in July, I'm not certain.
They do not legally receive notification. That's only the property owners within 200 feet, which is, in this case, is the one on either side.
Got it.
Okay, so we have a proposal to defer by staff. What do members have thoughts on that?
Mr. Chairman, I'm happy to defer. Sorry, I know it's the member's turn on the floor, but given what has been brought to light, which I wasn't aware of, I don't disagree with the deferral, so I'm happy to do that so that we can look at those items. So,
okay, thank you. Okay, are there any members have any thoughts one way or the other? Personally, I think if the applicant is okay with deferring it and staff recommends it, then that I think is what we should do.
yeah, as I say, I wasn't aware of those issues that have come up obviously in the last week, it seems, but I'm happy to tell the client if he's done something or someone on the site's done something that that's the reason for the deferral. So we will have to deal with it separately. So,
yeah. Okay, could I have a mover and seconder for an application for a motion to defer? Terry and Greg? Okay. Moved by Terry, seconded by Greg, that the Committee of Adjustment hereby defers variance application A 2021 dash 0027H CN cone for the following reasons. Staff report possible bylaw infraction. Is that correct, Jamie?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I don't even think you need to say that, Mr. Chair, for the reason for the deferral. It's just deferral to review new information. I think that's just,
Yeah.
that's all you really need to say.
Review new information. All right. Okay, great. Any further comments, questions? All in favor? Then that is carried.
Mr. Chair, can I just ask one question of Jamie, just while he's on the line? Is there a bylaw officer that I can speak to about the specifics that were found on site, or?
I'll let Lauren speak to that. She's
Okay.
more intimately familiar with that.
I can just deal with Lauren separately from this if you'd like. So, but,
Yeah,
I just want to know who to talk to. So,
I can certainly send you an email, Bill.
okay, perfect. Thank you, Lauren. Thanks, members.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Okay. Do we have any other business? I just have one thing that I would like to bring up. The notice of application, particularly with the Hamer Bay one. When I read it, I had no idea what they were doing or what variances they were applying for. I think they need to be a little more capable of standing on their own. In fact, I had to pull up the zoning bylaw and read what the sections were before I knew what the application was for. So I think on an ongoing basis, if we can make those a little more stand on their own so that the people standing on the road reading it on a tree know exactly what it is that the application's for. Okay. Anything else? Okay, so what's going on with the town? Why is everybody left?
Well, the Candace left because she had basically an hour commute each way. And she got the job with the local school board as ed planner 10 minutes from home. So it was kind of an easy choice. So it wasn't really planned or expected, but I can't say I blame her, you know.
Yep.
Basically 2 hours of your life back every day is kind of big, right? So it wasn't really too fortunate for us, but now we have Jamie, so to look after us for a while, and I'm sure they're on the hunt for a replacement. So planners seem to be very difficult to find at the moment. I can tell you that we're actively recruiting, for the director's job, and had to go, to outside source to make the search. So, like I said, it's unfortunate, but we'll the contingency plan in place, and we'll move through.
So Jamie, are you there full time or simply on a as needed basis?
No, Mr. Chair, we're just, our company is providing support to the municipality, basically as an acting director position, but then also as needed on file work. Other staff will jump in and pinch hit on file work where to alleviate any staff issues. I'm hoping to be in the office sort of periodically. Most of the stuff will get done remotely, but it is, as Mr. Fellner mentioned, senior planners are an endangered species these days.
Yeah.
They're difficult to find. So
That and cooks and carpenters and plumbers, and it doesn't, it's bizarre, but I mean, you can't, everybody you speak to can't get staff,
Yeah.
It's an unfortunate thing, but I guess it's common it's prevalent throughout all the industries. So it's, however, we've got a good contingency plan, and Jamie, and as you well know, is very conversant with Seguin, and his firm does excellent work. So we have all the confidence in the world that he's going to look after us. So.
Okay. Lauren, do we have much on the table for next month?
So far, Mr. Chair, we have 2 applications. The deadline's this Friday, so we'll see if we get any more trickling through.
And the Secone
One
application
deferral.
again.
And yes, 1 deferral.
Okay. Could I have a motion to adjourn? All in favor? Thank you very much.
You have 5 firsters. That one.
Good to see you, Jamie.
hey, nice to see you too, Karen.
Yeah, thanks, Jamie.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Bye.
Bye now.
Bye now.